Sean Colo at DiscountJuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you. In this episode, what I'm going to do is show you guys the top 3 vertical juicers on the market here in the United States in 2017. Happy New Year for everybody. You know, we just hit 2017. Hope you guys are getting all your New Year's resolutions accomplished. And I know one of the biggest resolutions is to lose weight and get healthy. And guess what? No other appliance in your kitchen is going to allow you to do that as good as one of these 3 juice machines right here. Literally, the value of juicing is because you can concentrate the amount of fruits and vegetables you guys could get in you. You know, and furthermore, you could eat fruits and vegetables that you might not normally eat. So how many of you guys have had bok choy lately, right? Maybe if you went to an Asian restaurant, but you know, you could juice the bok choy up. It's one of my favorite things to juice in the wintertime. The nice white stems or make a really nice water-rich, water-filled juice, and it's full of nutrients. And even the bok choy has anti-cancer properties. Every different fruit and vegetable has all different kinds of phytochemicals and phytonutrients that will allow your body, help your body to heal, ward off disease, and more importantly, stay younger longer. So in any case, this episode, we're going to focus on the vertical auger juicers. That's very important. There's many different kinds of juicers, much like there's many different kinds of cars and trucks. You could get a coupe, you could get a hatchback, you could get a sports car, right? And each one of these cars is good for a certain thing. If you got a family of kids, 8 kids, man, you need a minivan, right? And if you're a construction worker guy and you got to haul wood, you better be getting a full-size pickup truck. And if you're just, a single guy, maybe in his 20s or 30s, or you're in your 50s and going through a midlife crisis, you might want to get a convertible or something like that, right? And but all the cars and trucks get you from point A to point B, and that's the thing about juicers. All the juicers will juice the fruit and vegetables, but they all do it a little bit differently. And so there's like high-speed machines. Those are the ones commonly available at a department store near you. And this technology has been out for decades now. I don't necessarily recommend that style machine because they run at high speed. They tend to aerate the juice, although they do not heat the juice. They tend to aerate the juice and lower the nutritional quality of the juice, especially in published scientific studies. They do testing against the polyphenol content or the antioxidant content and show that it's lower in a high-speed machine or even a blender that tends to oxidize the food way too much. So that's why I like the slow juicers. Now, of the different kinds of slow juicers, there's many different kinds. There's horizontal single auger juicers, which are one of the first styles that came out. That's where the auger runs horizontally. These style machines are good for juicing certain things. If you're going to juice a lot of wheatgrass and sprouts and things, those machines actually work quite well. If you're going to be juicing fruits, those ones don't work so well. Then there's the twin gear juicers, right? These juicers tend to make the highest quality juice, also the highest yield juice, and I'm talking about the Green Star Elite with its bioceramic and far infrared technology and magnetic technology in there. I believe that helps to pull out more nutrients than other twin gears that do not have this technology. And they're excellent. They make the highest yield on root vegetables. Also, root vegetables, when juiced with leafy greens and wheatgrass, they're going to work great. Once again, on the fruits, if you mix them with the vegetables, they're going to do pretty good. But if you're trying to juice straight fruits, not going to work so well. Also, there's the 2-stage hydraulic press style machines. These machines could run upwards of $2,500. They're quite expensive, and some people tout them as the best. And every juicer has their pros and cons. And I think $2,500 for a juicer, you know, it's not 4 times better than one of these guys. That's actually 4 times less money. You're not going to get 4 times the yield on one of those $2,500 machines, right? So I would say save your money. But the reason why I'm showing you guys these vertical juicers today is because if you guys don't know what kind of juicer you want and you want to juice everything in the world under the sun and you just want to get healthy, lose weight, the fastest and easiest juicers to use for you guys are these guys, the vertical single augers, right? This is the one that I actually personally use in my home to make juice, because here's the thing. These guys, they'll juice leafy greens very well. Not quite as well as a single auger horizontal. Actually, in some cases, actually maybe even a little bit better. But they'll do leafy greens great, which the centrifugal ejection machines don't do so well. They'll actually juice the hard vegetables, you know, fairly well, make a decent yield. And then, more importantly, they'll also juice the fruits, right? They'll juice straight fruits, where a lot of juicers will choke on straight fruits, or some juicers will aerate the heck out of the fruits you're juicing, like the high-speed machines that tend to juice fruits very well. But they aerate the juice, and when they aerate the juice, the nutrients go down, but also, more importantly, the juice does not taste as good. So this is especially important if you got kids, you don't want them to drink it to enjoy every last drop of the juice, right? Get a juicer that's going to make the juice with more nutrients, because the taste of the juice is a sign of the nutrients in the juice. So that's why, you know, the vertical single augers are my #1 pick, unless you have a special kind of thing you got to juice. If you want to juice everything, that's why you want to get one of these, and that's why I use it, because I juice everything. And also, more importantly, they're fast and quick and easy to use. These ones, aside from a high-speed machine, are the second fastest style machine to use. Some of the other horizontal augers and the twin gears, you know, they may be fairly easy or more complex to clean, but they're going to take longer to use, because you got to like push each and every produce item into the machine. As you'll see at the end of this video, I'll be doing a juice off comparison, juicing the exact same amount of produce in each one of these machines, and you'll see it's really easy to juice in one of these, because these machines are auto feeding. You just drop the produce in, you don't have to sit there with a pusher and push each item in. It's a pain. It auto feeds and will juice it up for you, and even at the end it'll help you by auto cleaning. You just put the spout cap down when you're done juicing, pour like a quart of water in there, let it rotate around in there, it'll kind of clean it. Dump the water out when you're done. You could pour that on your garden or whatever, feed it to your pets. And then inside the machine is going to be significantly cleaner. This cannot really be done on any other style juicer out there. So I do really like that feature a lot. So the next thing I want to get into is that we've already determined that this is the best overall style machine if you want to juice everything. But between that, like, each one of the machines are a little bit different. And first I want to actually introduce these machines to you guys. Over on this side we have the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer Elite Model C7000. This is this year's, it came out late 2016, this year's model. And the C7000 has upgrades over the original Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer. That's the non-elite version, and that's the B6000 model. I only encourage you guys and recommend the C7000 model. Kuvings has made some significant upgrades and improvements to this machine over their previous generation, so it clogs less, gets a higher yield, and just overall works a little bit better with a more trouble-free operation. So yeah, Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer Elite. Now the interesting thing about this machine, unlike the other ones, is that this is the only machine on the market that has the patent on the 3-inch wide feed chute. There may be other 3-inch wide feed chute slow juicers on the market, but they are likely infringing on the patent, because Kuvings patented the 3-inch wide feed chute on the vertical slow juicers, and no other legitimate company that I've seen is licensing that technology or using that legally, from my understanding, all right? So then that's the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer Elite C7000. Next, here in the middle, we got the Omega VSJ843. Now this machine has been out for a few years, but Omega hasn't found anything better yet. They haven't announced any new machines, and Kuvings actually has not announced any new household machines, although they will be coming out soon with a commercial machine that's going to be about 4 times, 4.5 times the price of this guy, which I don't think the yield's going to be significantly greater. It's just going to have a longer duty cycle and have the commercial certification for juice bars that you will need in restaurants and things if you're using it in a commercial establishment. So I do not recommend the commercial model of the whole slow juicer unless you have a commercial establishment, because it's going to cost a lot more and probably not get too great or much more of a yield. Anyways, the Omega hasn't announced any new vertical auger juicers at this time, and they're sticking with this one because the performance is so good. I mean, at this time, the VSJ843, I have to say, it's my favorite machine, vertical machine on the table at this time for a few reasons, which we'll get into in a little bit. But this machine has a smaller feed chute right there. So I like this machine because mainly it just works really well for what I juice, right? And I want to stop right there. I mean, even though I like this as the best juicer, I'm not going to say it's the best juicer for you, right? We all have preferences in life. I happen to like brunettes. Maybe you like blondes. Maybe you like redheads. I don't really know. But we all have preferences in life. And, my goal in this episode is to explain the pros and cons of each one of these machines so that based on your needs, what you want to juice, what you want to do with the juicer, and your preferences, you could choose the right one for you. Because if you just go to Omega, they're going to try to tell you, hey, their machine's the best. Or if you go to Kuvings, they're going to say, hey, their machine's the best. And I just kind of cut through all the BS and just share with you guys my opinions on the topic for after using the machines But more importantly, at the end of this episode, you'll see I'll be juicing the same exact produce items in the machines so you guys can see the process, how it works, if the machines jam, how much yield each of the machines get, and all this kind of stuff. Anyways, so yeah, that's the VSJ843. And then over on the last here, we got the Tribest Slowstar juicer. Now, Tribest has not announced any new vertical auger juicers, although they have announced, and I'm not sure when this will happen, they have announced a new color coming out of their machine. They're going to have an all black model instead of the black and red model. And we'll talk about some of the color differences in just a little bit. Now, the reason why I like the Slowstar juicer is because it's probably the most juicer with the most torque, or guts, I would say. And basically, I've never been able to stop it putting produce through it, because with torque reduction it has like 9 horsepower equivalent, and so it's a 200 watt motor. This guy has a 150 watt motor, and this guy has a 240 watt motor. But just because the motor is rated higher doesn't mean it's going to be more powerful, right? It might have not as much torque. Anyways, we'll see that in a little bit. We'll talk more about some of the specs in a little bit. But yeah, this one, that's why I like it, and it pretty much works on anything you throw at it. It'll pretty much juice it really well, and it actually grinds the best out of all these machines based on my testing. It grinds so well that on some items like cactus fruits, which I do not encourage you guys juicing in the Slowstar, but you can juice in these two guys, it'll grind up the seeds and extract the juice from the seeds and give you a really dry pulp. But the problem with that is because it extracts such a dry pulp, the pulp literally gets stuck because it's so dry and it can't eject, and it clogs the port there. So it cannot eject, and then it'll cause a breakage of your screen. So that's how good the Slowstar is for some things, right? It'll literally grind up the seeds and get the best extraction for you guys. Anyways, yeah, that's all the main machines here. Next, I want to get into some of the specifications of the machines. And one of the most important specifications for you guys that I would encourage you guys to consider when buying a machine is the warranty. You know, I got into juicing only because I had failing health. I almost lost my life when I was younger, and then I got into juicing as my first step into making my diet healthier and changing my diet to eat the healthiest foods on the planet, which I've determined are the fresh fruits and the fresh vegetables. So I was glad that Jay Kordich, the juice man, introduced me, or reintroduced me into juicing in the 1990s, because I had been, my parents, when I was growing up, had a juicer, and we juice as kids, carrot apple juice actually. And that Jay reintroduced me to the power of juicing and how it could maximize the fruits and vegetables, how you could lose weight, get more energy, and build your immune system and get healthy because of it. And so that's why I'm passionate about this stuff today. But anyways, long story short is, the warranty should be one of the most important criteria for you guys when selecting a juicer, right? It's your assurance that the company is putting out a solid machine that's basically going to be working for the next X amount of years, X being the length of the warranty. Unfortunately, some very inexpensive machines, imported machines from China, may have only a 90-day, maybe a 1-year warranty, and maybe they'll try to fool you with a lifetime motor warranty. But let me tell you the thing I've seen fail the least on any juicer overall is the motor. I mean, I have seen it happen, but it's very rare. Most often on a juicer these days, one of the accessory juicer parts breaks, on the top half, not the motor base, right? And so I want to encourage you guys to look for a juicer with a long warranty. Even 9 years after, if this machine breaks, it's going to be covered under warranty. And think about it, man. You guys got to pay extra money for a warranty on your iPhone, right? For an extended warranty. And those sleazy salesmen, when you're buying a refrigerator or something, they're trying to sell you that extended warranty. I don't want to sell you any extended warranties. I want to sell you a juicer with a long warranty so that you are covered. And don't forget about your warranty, because I know a lot of my customers like, John, I need parts. I broke my part. I'm like, well, how did you break it? Did you drop it? Did you put a knife down your juicer? No, I just was juicing and it broke. Well, then guess what? That's going to be covered under warranty for you guys, provided you're not abusing, your machine by using it improperly. And that's great. I have personal relationships with all the companies here, the Omega, Tribest, and Kuvings, and all the reports, because every time I, refer a customer for warranty service to the manufacturer, I ask them, hey, it's important to me that the manufacturers take care of my customers. Hey, please let me know how they treat you. If they don't treat you right, let me know, and I'll make sure you're taken care of. And to date, all the manufacturers have taken care of my customers. And so that's why I want to encourage you guys, if you guys enjoyed this video and the content and the work that I do, over 450 videos on this YouTube channel this time, educating you guys about the juicers, and enjoyed and learned from my work, I would encourage you to make your purchase at discountjuicers.com, which directly supports me so I can continue to do the educational videos, on this YouTube channel as well as my other YouTube channels, which I appreciate, because if nobody buys from me, I don't have a job. I can't do this anymore. And then nobody's going to be able to get the updated juicer information, go to the different trade shows that I do to show you guys the latest and greatest information coming out. But yeah, thank you in advance for supporting me, for those of you guys that have supported me and for those of you guys that will support me in the future. Thank you so much. This allows me to continue to do what I love. I love teaching about juicers. I love teaching about fresh fruits and vegetables and how you guys could get more in your body, because unfortunately, I think, big organizations like insurance companies, health insurance companies, hospitals, the government should just basically be telling us to eat our fruits and vegetables. I mean, they do, but they don't go far enough anyways. So if you purchase from Discount Juicers, I'll make sure and ensure that you are taken care of with any of the manufacturers that you're looking at here in case you have challenges. Now, the other thing to look at when buying a juicer, besides just, how long is a warranty, is how long has a company been established in the United States, and are they here to stay, or are they a fly-by-night company? There's companies that open a new juicer company, seems like every couple months, and they might be here for a little bit, they'll sell one juicer, then they won't sell anything else, and then they'll disappear. And even if you got a long warranty on one of those machines, doesn't mean squat if the company's not here, right? Kuvings is probably the newest newcomer to the market here in the USA. They've only been here maybe for a handful of years. They've been established in Korea for a long time, but their U.S. office is relatively new. Omega is one of the families of companies or juicing companies that started juicing out. There's like Champion and there's Olympic, which later turned into Omega. And so Omega's been, I don't even know how long now, over 30 years here in the U.S., solid company. I know them well. I visited their headquarters. They're great people. And then the Tribest company, they've been in business for over 25 years now. So that's a nice, solid, basically family and son company, and it's going to continue for a long time. So yeah, so all these machines have really good warranties and good warranty support after them. So once again, 10 years, 15 years actually, and 10 years. So you might be thinking, John, should I get this machine that has the longest warranty? Well, that's an extra 5 years. Hey, that's very valuable, but the thing is, once again, there's pros and cons on every machine, and I think 10 years is quite a long time, because I tell you, just from being in this industry, in the next 5 years, there's going to be new technology coming out that you're probably just going to want to upgrade your juicer anyways, if you're really into it. And if you're not, that's all right. Keep your same one. It's going to have a long warranty. So aside from the warranty, I also want to talk about where is the juicer made. This is super important. Japan is known for some of the best quality products out there. Unfortunately, none of these machines come from Japan, but all these machines come from and are made in South Korea, which in my opinion is right up there in quality, right next to Japan in quality. So these are made in South Korea. Actually, I visited the factories that make the Tribest, some of the Tribest machines. I visited the factory that makes the VSJ843, and I visited the Kuvings factory, actually. I even assembled my own Kuvings juicer at the time. And so, yeah, you want to look out for machines that are made in China. They're likely not the same high quality as the ones, made in Korea. So aside from the warranty, what are some other things that you might want to look for in a juicer? Well, it depends. Some people don't want a juicer that's too tall. I think the tallest of these juicers is the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer Elite, then followed by the Slowstar, and then followed by the VSJ. The VSJ is actually the shortest machine. And this may be important to you if you leave your juicer out on the counter, and I do encourage you guys to leave your juicer out on the counter because it will be used more. If you have to take out your juicer, put it away, you're going to not use it as much as if it's always sitting there on the counter. So this VSJ actually always sits on my counter so that it's all ready to use. Another thing is the weight, I think all these machines are in the 20-pound range. I think I think the Kuvings may be a little bit heavier, and the Slowstar actually may be the heaviest, beefiest motor in there. But yeah, that may be another consideration if you're maybe older and you don't want to lift heavy items. Actually, I had one lady want me to measure blender crafts one time because she wanted the lightest blender craft. But I think for most people that wouldn't necessarily be a big issue. Another issue for many people are, hey John, I gotta match my kitchen, man. We got all stainless steel stuff, and I don't want orange juicer. Well, don't worry, none of these machines come in orange yet. But the Kuvings at this time actually only comes in silver, much like Henry Ford's Model T. You can have any color you want, as long as it's black. Actually, well, this is only in silver, and the Omega VSJ actually gives you the most flexibility with colors and design. This machine comes in a red and a silver model, and they have the models not only in the silver square model, which is this model, but we also have a round model, which actually works identically the same in both the silver and the red, and the square one in the silver and the red at this time. So basically the round and the square, they're basically the same exact thing. The only difference is the housing that covers the motor. I like the square model because it has the on-off switch in the front instead of the round model that has the on-off switch in the back. And then the Slowstar here basically comes in this color. It's a black with a red. I think it looks pretty nice. And then, as I said before, you know, at a certain time later this year, they will be coming out with a black model. And basically, it's going to be the same machine, just I guess a new casing here on the bottom, just to be black instead of red. So yeah, so that might be another consideration for you, is the color. Now, another consideration may be the power of the juicer. Maybe you live it off the grid, right? And you want the juicer that draws the least amount of watts. And that would be the Omega VSJ 843. It has 150 watts, only draws 150 watts at peak. I haven't actually tested it to see what it pulls at normal operating voltage or whatever. And then over at the next one, the Slowstar has a 200 watt motor. And the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer Elite, 240 watt motor. So just because the motor is more doesn't mean it's more powerful. Actually, the one that's most powerful based on my testing is actually the Slowstar. I haven't been able to stop it up juicing anything. Of course, the VSJ 843, in my opinion, is actually under-torqued. It can juice many things just fine, but you know, on thick carrots and sometimes beets will clog it up and stop it. You need to hit the reverse button and then continue through to get all juiced up. So yeah, that's a situation on the motor power. Now the other thing that may be important to you is the RPMs, or revolutions per minute. How fast does a motor spin? You guys know that high-speed machines that run in excess of 3,000 RPMs, even more than a couple hundred in my opinion, you know, introduce oxidative damage because there's air being injected into the juice. So the RPMs on these machines, these are all considered slow cold press juicers. And this one is 47 RPMs on the Slowstar. On the VSJ 843, it's 43 RPMs. And on the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer Elite, it's 60 RPMs. So this is not a big difference in the RPMs, and I'm not going to say like, oh man, this one's like 20 RPMs less than this, it's going to be better. I don't know. I don't think 20 RPMs makes a difference. What I will say is this runs a little bit faster, so it's a little bit louder, which we'll talk about in a second. And it probably also you're going to get done quicker because of the larger feed chute. And yeah, let's get into the noise. So how loud are the juicers? Well, I mean, I could tell you, but I think better yet, I'm just going to show you. So we're going to go ahead and turn on the Slowstar here. We're going to turn on the VSJ. And now we're going to turn on the Kuvings. So you guys heard the noise comparison. Now this is the noise comparison empty. And very important to note, we're running it empty. You should never run your juicer empty for any significant period of time. I mean, if you're about to juice, you turn it on, you don't put anything in there for a couple seconds because you're just picking it up and put it through, that's fine. But you don't want these juicers just running empty, right? Actually, when you start juicing, it starts to help lubricate the juicer, and then it may quiet down. So this one kind of has a little bit of noise to it, and every juicer is going to be a little bit different. Some might have some squeaks and some noises, but it's completely normal, you know, provided you put produce into it and then it quiets down, like I'll show you guys later, they'll quiet down. I think overall the Kuvings was maybe the loudest, and maybe the, that's pretty quiet actually. I think maybe the VSJ was second loudest because I got some weird stuff going on in there, and the Slowstar was the quietest for the noise test. Now, the other thing that I want to talk about is the feed chute size. This is also critically important. So as I showed you guys before, feed chute size on the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer Elite, 3-inch wide. And then on the VSJ 843, we'll put them down from there for you guys. And then over on the Slowstar. So it looks like to me, I mean the Slowstar and the VSJ pretty much have the same feed chute size. The Kuvings has the largest feed chute size. And you know, some people might argue that, hey John, the larger feed chute, it's always better because you don't have to cut stuff up. And you know, that's true on one sense, but it's not true in another sense. I mean, the thing I'll tell you guys is that, you know, if I'm juicing large pieces of watermelon, I still got to cut it up in the Kuvings, and I got to cut it up in the VSJ. I just got to cut it up a little bit smaller in the VSJ or the Slowstar. And the other thing besides that is that if you're juicing things like celery and leafy greens, kale, collard greens, spinach that have like long fiber strands in the stalk, I do encourage you guys to pre-cut those up into 1/8-inch pieces to get optimal results in any vertical slow juicer, when it's one of these, which are the best of 2017, or any other ones that you have, because vertical slow juicers, because the way the pulp comes out and how these juicers work, actually, let me go ahead and explain that. You put the produce down the chute there, it runs into the auger hits it, it basically grinds it up. As it's grinding up, it's extracting the juice comes out the front, and then the pulp has to make actually a right angle turn to come out the side. And it's this right angle turn that can be problematic for many juicers, and they may get clogged up on vertical auger juicers, and this is especially true of all those strings in celery and strings in the stalks of some of the different leafy greens. So that being said, the one of these machines that actually tend to clog the least, that's a good question. I mean, if you juice certain produce items, they're all going to clog at some point, but I would say, I mean, that's pretty tough. I would say these two probably tend to clog the least because they have a new enhanced screen design. So I guess without further ado, let's go ahead and get into disassembling some of the different parts and showing you guys each of the parts and how they're the same and how they're a little bit different. Right, so we already showed you guys the feed chutes. We'll just take those off and put them to the side here. All these three actually have funnels, which I really like a lot. This is the first year that the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer has a funnel. Previous models did not have a funnel. Funnels make it significantly easier to feed the produce in. And actually the Kuvings has the largest funnel of them all. And then let's see, followed by, I think this is just a different shape, but I think these two funnel sizes are about the same, but I'll have to go with the VSJ because it actually has a bigger lip on the funnel than the Slowstar. Next, let's get into the augers. So the augers are a little bit different on all these machines. Here's the auger on the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer Elite. You can see its shape, and I don't want to say a bigger auger is always better. You know, that's maybe a misnomer as well, but I will say that the design of the auger has everything to do with how the juicer functions. So this machine, because of its wide feed chute, has a different style auger that literally accepts the produce in and literally just crushes off and chunks off pieces of it until it crushes and squeezes it and gets the juice out. On the bottom it has a recess, a pocket recess, which I do encourage you guys to only buy juicers with pocket recesses. The first style juicers had a flat bottom, and the flat bottom tended to basically get jacked up inside the juicer and cause the juicer to get stuck. Not that none of these juicers will get stuck if you're not juicing properly, but they get stuck far less. So it's very important to have a pocket recess underneath there. Next, augers on the VSJ and the Slowstar here coming out. So these two augers look fairly similar. I think the diameter on the VSJ auger is a little bit larger, and once again both have the pocket recesses underneath, so they're very similar. Together I think the recess actually on the Slowstar goes up deeper and it's a little bit thinner, so the one in the VSJ, like when I clean it at the end, I put my finger there and I could easily get my finger there and dislodge all the pulp. Let's see if I could do that on the Kuvings. I could do that as well, but on the Slowstar, I mean, I have smaller fingers for a guy, and I could barely get my fingers in there. It's kind of a tight fit up in there, so you can use the cleaning brush that comes with the machine. But one of the things I like about both these machines, the Slowstar and the VSJ, it actually has what's called a dual blade system. Actually, that's a patented term for the Slowstar, so I don't know that I can say that the VSJ has it, but it has a similar technology. And what it is actually is on the top of the auger, it has two little sides. Here's one side here and one side here. And actually these are like little blades, so when you put produce in them there, even though it's not sharp or anything, it'll just, it's good enough to chop off and cut up carrots, cut up celery. And so you're going to feed twice as fast, and also this will help prevent clogging. That's something that the Kuvings does not have due to the way the auger is designed and the juicer is produced. Over here on the VSJ 843, it once again has the blades too, the two little blades that come around, but they're not as sharp as actually on the Slowstar. So if you want to juice a lot of celery and not cut it, then the Slowstar would definitely be a better machine because it's kind of going to do a better job at pre-cutting the produce you're putting into the machine. And actually, I think the auger weights, the Kuvings auger is the heaviest, VSJ auger is next heaviest, and then the Slowstar auger is the next. All right, now let's go ahead and talk about the juicing bowls, or the juicing screens here. The juicing screens are very important on each of the machines because they determine how much juice is going to come out and how much pulp is in your juice, actually. So these are the 3 different juicing screens right here. As you guys can see, they're similar but different. I mean, I guess the main thing is the hole size and the screen area to me, and also if there's a hole on the bottom where the pulp has to come through. So on both the Slowstar and the VSJ, you guys can see it's just basically a cone here, and there's no little holes on the bottom. The whole thing is a hole, and this is the 2nd generation style that I encourage you guys to get. These clog far less than the juicers that have a hole on the bottom of the machine. If we look at the Kuvings here, it actually, there's one hole, and that's where the auger shaft goes in. So this is a new design, only Kuvings has this design. So this actually makes the juicing bowl easier to clean because all the pulp and everything is left inside the screen, which is kind of cool. But it still does have that little hole in the bottom of the screen that may tend to get clogged up and you know, back up on you if you're not pre-cutting, especially the greens and the celery. So yeah. And then the other thing is which one of these screens is easiest to clean, because I'm a stickler for cleaning. I really hate cleaning a juicer, believe it or not, so I want the easiest to clean screen. And I'd go with the easiest to clean screen is the VSJ 843. It's actually a smaller screen in dimension, so there's less plastic to clean. And also because it has like that open bottom, makes it really easy. Let's see, next, man, between the Kuvings and the Slowstar, I mean, pros and cons on each of them. I mean, it's really hard to kind of get into the bottom of the cleaning on the inside of the screen because there's a bottom on this and you can't reach it from the bottom. You got to reach it from the top. And on this machine here, you could reach the bottom and the top, but there's a little bit more plastic. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think it's a wash for these guys. I don't really like cleaning either of these myself. But if I had to choose one, I mean, I don't know what I'd pick. Anyways, the other thing also to notice on a screen is how many locking points hold the screen in place. You know, some of the earliest vertical auger juicers, there was only one locking point, and then we'd get some screen movement inside the machine that may cause some plastic wear to potentially go in your juice. And so this machine actually has 3 locking points. There's 2 pins, and the spout here locks it in place. The VSJ 843, basically 1, 2, 3, 4 locations that lock this in place. And on the Slowstar here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 locations lock this screen into place. So this screen is the most stable. I'd say that basically all these screens pretty much don't really move once they're in the machine. Now another thing I want to go over is the wiping blade. This is like having windshield wipers on your car, and this is the part that actually basically goes around as a screen, as the juicer's running to wipe off the juice off the screen into your juice collection cup. Also keeps the bowl wiped down so that all the juice goes in. Also, because it's running around, it may help to clean the screen a little bit so that your job of cleaning it is easier. And let's see, let's go ahead and hold these guys up for you. And so you guys can see there's 2 of them are black and one's white. Is white the good guy? So let's see, this unit actually has 2 wiping blades, 1 and 2. This guy actually only has 2 wiping blades. The other 2 are actually just firm plastic. They're just there for looks. And same with the Kuvings. It has 2 wiping blades, and then there's 2 that are just on there for looks. And aside from how many wiping blades you got to clean, which you should remove these wiping blades maybe like once a month to clean inside them. I do encourage you guys to always clean your juicer right after you're done so that there's no sticks or stains or anything on there. I kind of personally like the ones with the black wiping blades. You don't tend to be able to, you know, see the stains as much, although you will be able to keep your white one a lot cleaner because you're going to see the stains, whereas the black doesn't tend to show them. The other challenge I've seen with these guys is on the wiping blades. They'll collect a little mold on there if you're not careful, and it'll collect a black mold. So guess what? The black wiping blades are not going to show the black mold on there if you're really concerned. So then you may want to get the red ones because you'll at least be able to see them and notice it and either try to clean it or actually just order new blades from the manufacturer. Now the other thing is the bottom of these wiping blades, which I didn't show you guys until now. So what's the difference on these guys? I don't know if you guys could see that. But this wiping blade has teeth on the bottom, and the Kuvings also has teeth on the bottom, but the VSJ actually has no teeth on the bottom of the wiping blade. And this is a critical component for me because when you're done juicing, and especially making something like coconut cream that's really rich and thick, it'll clog up all these little holes, or the little blades, the little gears, and you got to get in there and brush each one of these guys out. And it's going to take a few extra brush strokes to clean all these wiping blades out, or the little gears. And on the VSJ, you don't have all that stuff to clean. So that's why, the VSJ, if you're looking at overall cleaning time, it's the quickest one to clean for me. I guess probably second easiest one to clean for me, I'd have to say, is the Slowstar. Because of the bigger parts on here, the wider tube and all this stuff underneath here, I'd say the Kuvings takes the longest to clean of these guys. And of course the VSJ is the fastest, and the Slowstar is in the middle. So let's see. Oh, next we got the juicing bowl. So the juicing bowls on all these machines are a little bit different, but similar. They all have that little pulp flap, so I do encourage you guys only to get a machine with a pulp flap that allows you to avoid dripping on your counter when you're done juicing. Also, it allows you to mix in the juicing bowl, which I don't necessarily recommend because your yields will go down because you're bathing your pulp in the juice, so the pulp that comes out is going to be a little bit wetter. The other thing on the bottom of this guy, there's a whole gearing system. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's underneath this black piece. And this is what actually spins the wiping blade on this unit, is the gearing system on the bottom. So that's easier than maybe say on the Slowstar that actually has a separate gear that actually drives the wiping blade that actually may be another component that may break. And and then on the bottom of this machine there is actually a little gear that spins around, which once again is a part that you got to clean. And let's see, on the outlet where the pulp goes out, there's no pulp flap, so this is actually kind of huge. Just makes this a little bit easier to clean, but at the same time, one of the things I like to do, I like to take my finger in the pulp port and try to get in there and clean the whole area of pulp, and I can't really do that. My fingers are once again small. So you're going to have to use a toothbrush, assembly. Toothbrush cleaning brush. There's a little screwdriver in that'll help dislodge the pulp out of here. This also has a nice long runway for the pulp to eject out. That's pretty much that. Over on the VSJ 843, we have the little plastic piece here that you have to remove when you're cleaning the machine each and every time, and then put it back in before you're juicing. Also, it has a little gasket here at the bottom. That's the motor shaft seal. And actually, I do want to point that out. On the juicing bowl, the Kuvings, it actually has no motor shaft seal, which makes this part actually easier to clean than even the VSJ, because they put the motor shaft seal actually inside the juicing screen. I don't think this makes too much of a difference, although I have seen problems with leakage with the Slowstar and VSJ, if not used properly, with some leakage of juice on to the top of the housing. But Omega has upgraded the seals on here, so I've seen far less leaks on the newer models. And let's see, and I like on the VSJ 843, this has a short runway, and I could easily get my finger in here to dislodge all the pulp. That's really good. In addition, they have that pulp flap, and I do like the pulp flap actually on the VSJ 843 because there's no trim ring like on the Kuvings and on the Slowstar. So it's a little more form-fitting, easier, less things to clean once again. And then also, if you look on the bottom of this bowl, there's no little gear that spins that the wiping blade. And this I like a lot. That's because on this machine, the wiping blade is spun by the little two wing tips at the end that actually drive the wiping blade from the top instead of the bottom. This is ingenious in my opinion, so saves you some time for cleaning, saves a gear that may break and all this kind of stuff, although I have heard reports but haven't seen myself personally that sometimes these wing tips break, but I've never seen that myself. But yeah, that's this juicing bowl. And I do want to say that all these juicers are claimed from the manufacturer to be BPA free at one point or another, whether that's in print or out of print. I have actually seen testing from Omega showing that the juice, after it comes out, is tested for BPA. There's no BPA in the juice that is created. Okay, so and then on the Slowstar, this is probably the most heaviest duty juicing bowl right here. And once again, it has that pulp flap. It has the trim ring around there. I like that it actually has the gasket here up higher, so this is going to prevent leakage onto the top of the machine unless you're doing and messing up really bad. It also has that little pulp flap on the bottom here that you'll need to pull out after every use. I do like that it's actually cut out here on the top, so you can have some easier access. This is a little bit easier access than the Kuvings, but not as easy as the VSJ, and it still does have a rather large runway. I like that this bowl is the only bowl that actually has a handle, so it's easier to handle when you're cleaning and whatnot, so I do like that a lot. The other things on the bottom of this, there's that little gear that spins, because there's a little gear spinner on the top of the motor housing that spins this, so this is another part to clean, another part that may potentially break in the future. And the other thing about this unit, unlike these two, both the Kuvings and the VSJ actually have a built-in magnetic system, so that if the machine is not properly assembled, it will not turn on. So I've recently gotten a rash of emails, John, I put my juicer away, haven't used it for 3 months, and I got it out and it doesn't work. Well, number one thing is make sure it's assembled properly. Take it apart, reassemble it, because if you don't assemble it properly, it's not going to turn on. It's not because the juicer's defective, it's just because maybe you forgot how to assemble it properly, right? But on the Slowstar, instead of using a magnetic, it actually uses a, just an old-fashioned switch. So I don't know if you guys could see here, in this bowl here, but on the end, right where the handle is, there's a little pin. It's a clear plastic pin with a spring on the bottom, and basically this only allows a juicer to turn on if the top and the juicer is properly assembled into place. I have noticed that sometimes water and juice may get in there, and I guess while you could remove that with a screw here, I don't necessarily recommend that. I do recommend, just washing it well and being careful when you're washing it not to get juice and pulp down there. Normally it won't be a big issue as long as you're careful. But yeah, I think that's pretty much the end of this top here. So I mean, each of the tops has their pros and cons about them. I kind of like that there's, no flap on the Kuvings. I like that there's, no gear on the VSJ. And I like that there's a handle on the Slowstar. So I mean, I think that pretty much runs through it. I think the other thing is I want to show you guys the assembly on each of the machines. They vary a little bit, so let me go ahead and first show you on the Slowstar. First, we're going to take the juicing bowl. We're going to put the handle kind of a diagonal to the back to the right, and then that kind of rotates into place to the closed position. Then we're going to take the wiping blade, put it on the juicing screen, and we're going to line up this red dot or white dot on the top with the white dot near the back. And this will just drop into place, lock nice and securely. Next, we're going to go ahead and take this auger. It drops right down into place, make sure it's fully seated. And finally, take our top, and we got a red dot here. We're going to line up with the two white dots. Line that up, and then turn it and lock it into place with the back. Once it's assembled properly, it will turn on. All right, next, VSJ 843. Always make sure that little pulp flap is put in, and we're just going to go ahead and set that in there. Then we're going to take our juicing screen and our wiping blade, shove that in there. And on this unit, the juicing screen is recessed or down further than the blade, so that, or the wiping blade, so that the auger tips could fit in there. So that goes in, and then we want to line up these auger tips with a little little cutout in the wiping blade. So I usually try to get it lined up, and then I might spin it a little bit to just drop it in place. It drops in place. Then we're going to go ahead and take, there's a little black arrow here, indentation. We're going to line it up with the orange arrow here, but to the right, and then turn that, match them up, and then it's going to come on. Kuvings, once again, got a little red dot we got to line up. Put that on the top, and we're going to go ahead and put the wiping blade inside the juicing screen. Line up this red dot with this red dot, drops into place. Take this auger, drop that into place. Line up the red dot here with the red dot over here for open, and then shut it to close. and then turn it on, and we're all set and ready to juice. So that's how easy the assembly is. This assembly is just as easy. You know, aside from juicing, these machines also have multi-functions. So the one that I kind of like the most for the multi-function use is the Slowstar. The Slowstar actually comes with a whole separate attachment that allows you to do mincing and grinding, you know, separate than the whole juicing apparatus. The Omega VSJ843 does not come with any attachments, although it does allow you to process nuts into nut butters and frozen fruit into frozen fruit sorbets. Be sure to check my video on how to do that specifically, and you just do that with the juicing screen. That's kind of a workaround, but it's an approved use by Omega. And actually, Kuvings, they have the most flexibility as to multi-purpose uses in some ways. Basically, it comes with a juicing screen. It also comes with a blank plate, and that's only designed to make sorbets and nut butters. And then they actually come with a smoothie screen so that you can make low RPM smoothies inside the machine. If I remember, I'll put a link down below to a video I did demonstrating using the Kuvings on some of the different functions, including making the smoothies, which is really cool. Now, the Kuvings will not allow you to like grind cabbage to make sauerkraut. It gets stuck up in here, so that's not a good job for that. The only machine that will allow you to do that is the Slowstar. So I do like the Slowstar because it kind of, aside from the smoothie feature on this machine, it allows you the most flexibility for processing other things besides just juicing. So this is very important if you're trying to make lifestyle changes and, hey John, you know, I want to get off the ice cream. Well, hey, making frozen fruit sorbets, which actually all these machines do, you know, is a great substitute. All you do is you just take some ripe bananas, buy them when they're cheap at the store, peel them, freeze them, and then put the bananas through the machine. You might want to let the bananas thaw out for a couple minutes before taking them out. After you take them out of the deep freeze, put them through the machine. You're going to make an amazing ice cream substitute that's like 100 times healthier in my opinion. So yeah, that's some of the multi-function uses. Next, let's talk about some of the accessories that come with machine. So all the machines come with an instruction book, and I think the Slowstar actually comes with a few recipes in the instruction book, but actually Kuvings takes it to the next level and actually comes with a dedicated recipe book, full color recipe book. And this is especially important if you're new into getting into making healthy lifestyle changes. It's going to really guide you, you know, with some of the different recipes you can create in the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer Elite. Now, of course, cleaning. I talked about cleaning. The VSJ is the quickest to clean, probably the second easiest to clean is the Slowstar, followed by the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer Elite. For me personally, the Kuvings does come with 3 different cleaning brushes. So this I like. It comes with a specialized cleaning brush so you guys could clean that screen really quickly. It comes with a standard toothbrush cleaning brush, and also comes with a oversized pipe cleaner to clean some of the, you know, some of the little holes, the pulp outlet port and the juice outlet port on the machines. Both the Slowstar and the VSJ843 just come with the oversized toothbrush cleaner. And the backside is a screwdriver end, so you can kind of like get in and dislodge pulp out of the pulp outlet ports. I think those are the major accessories that comes with the machines. Oh, and I do need to mention that the sorbet and nut maker screen on the Kuvings is included, but if you want the smoothie attachment, you're going to have to pay extra for it. And I guess the next thing, let's talk about the price, right? Price is important, you know. I mean, I don't want you guys to spend more money than you need to on a juicer, so going with prices. I don't mention prices in the videos because prices may change, but at present time, the winner of the price battle is the Slowstar juicer. This is the least expensive machine on the table at this time. The next most expensive is the VSJ843. That's kind of like middle ground. And then the most expensive machine here is the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer Elite. So if price is important to you, you know, you might want to get the Slowstar because it offers actually the best bang for the buck. All these machines, you know, make a fairly similar yield depending on what you're juicing. Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, but they're all within 10-20% of each other for sure. Let's talk about like how each of these machines handles certain kinds of produce. So I've had a lot of behind the or behind the wheel or behind the juicer use of these machines. I'm juicing like every day of my life practically, and I've juiced a lot of different things. One of my favorite things to juice, which you guys probably haven't ever juiced, is the cactus fruit. The cactus fruit is an amazing fruit, and when juicing cactus fruit, I will say that the VSJ does the best job. It basically gets the highest yield from the cactus fruit, runs at low RPM. You have to cut the cactus fruits in half, but it works pretty well. The next best for doing the cactus fruit is the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer Elite. Basically, I just cut the skin off the cactus fruit, throw the whole thing in there, and it juices on up. Now the challenge with that is that the pulp is a little bit wetter than the VSJ, and I'm a stickler because I want to get the highest yield. Now the Slowstar actually doesn't juice the cactus fruit. I mean, well, actually it does juice the cactus fruit, but it juices it so well that it actually makes the machine clog up because it gets such a high level of extraction of the juice. After just a short while, the ground up seeds clog up the ejection port, so it cannot eject them. So if you want to juice cactus fruit, you want to get one of these guys. Now what if you want to juice other fruits? Now I'm talking about not juicing fruits with your vegetables, because all these machines will do that great as long as you rotate the items you're putting in, like juice some leafy greens, some fruits, some hard vegetables, and just keep repeating that cycle until you're done with your produce. All these guys will juice fruits for sure, but in general I like the VSJ for juicing the fruits. I find that it just does a little bit better and tends to eject the pulp a little bit better. Some of these machines, depending on the consistency of the fruit, if they're softer, they may not end up going through the whole machine. I find the VSJ could accept the softest consistency fruit and still juice. That being said, this can be rectified by, juicing some soft consistency fruits and following it by some cut up celery or some pieces of carrot. That's going to take care of that. So yeah. So, and let's talk about the leafy greens. So I've done testing between all these machines on different items, and be sure to check my past episodes to see which one's going to make 10% more on juicing certain things. But overall, for leafy greens, I'd say the VSJ 843 produces a higher yield on leafy greens. I don't necessarily recommend juicing straight leafy greens in any vertical auger juicer. I do recommend a combination of leafy greens with hard vegetables. That's always going to work the best. But even with the straight leafy greens, the VSJ 843 is going to work. Now juicing wheatgrass, I get the question a lot. John, will these juicers juice wheatgrass? Yes, these juicers will all juice wheatgrass. And then we'll put a little asterisk there because they all juice wheatgrass. I did a video juicing wheatgrass in the VSJ, straight wheatgrass uncut, and I mean it worked for a while, but then the auger got clogged up and it made a horrible yield because a lot of the blades of grass did not get cut up. So to rectify this, I do encourage you guys to cut your wheatgrass with a scissors into 1/8 inch pieces and drop it a little bit in at a time if you want to do wheatgrass shots. Otherwise, the way to do that would be to cut the wheatgrass into 1/8 inch pieces and then alternate feeding pieces of wheatgrass, pieces of carrot, pieces of celery, one or the other, and then it's going to work great for you guys. I mean, on carrots, well, actually on a recent test I did, I think the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer, beat out, the VSJ on yield, and I did another test between the Kuvings and the Slowstar, juicing some other items. I think the Kuvings won, but you know what? All these machines are within 10% of each other, depending on what you're juicing, of course, maybe 20%, but it's all variable, so it's like, unless you know exactly what you're going to juice, you tell me, and then I can say, hey, this juicer juices those items the best, and that's just what it is. I mean, I can't really think of too many other criteria you may want to look for in a juicer. I've tried to explain most of the different criteria for you guys that are important. I mean, as you guys can see, each of these machines have their pros and cons. If price is important, go for the Slowstar. If warranty is important, go for the VSJ 843. If like speed and ease of use is most important to you because it has a larger feature, you're going to do less cutting, hey, get the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer Elite. So I mean, it's not really clear to say, hey, this juicer is always the best in every situation. It's clearly not. In any case, what I want to show you guys next is actually which one of these juicers is better in a certain situation, and that's making a fresh juice. So what I'm going to juice today is carrots, and I've got some oversized hardcore carrots that are going to be harder to juice in any juicer today. Also celery, and normally I recommend you guys pre-cutting your celery, but we're going to purposely not cut the celery to see what happens in all these machines today. Don't necessarily recommend this at home for you guys. And then and one apple for some sweetness. So let me go ahead and get the scales out, weigh out the produce, and we'll come back at you when we're all set up and ready to juice. So now I'm all set up and almost ready to juice, but the first thing I want to do is explain to you guys what we're juicing today and give you guys the weigh-in. So we're juicing purple carrots, some really fat ones, standard orange carrots, a Fuji apple, and a whole bunch of celery. Celery can be very challenging to juice in these juicers, as is the celery, because of the long fibrous strings. Now, I will purposely not be cutting the celery up in this episode, but I would recommend you guys do that for best results. So I guess the first thing I'm going to do is let's go ahead and get a weigh-in to make sure we're juicing the same exact amounts in every juicer. Let's go ahead and do a close-up on the scales. As you guys can see, we've got celery, carrots, and an apple over on this scale, 1,550 grams. Going over to the next one, 1,550 grams. And finally over to the last one, 1,550 grams. So it looks like on all three of these scales, we have exactly the same exact amounts of produce. So now that you guys saw we have even amounts of produce, let's go ahead and clean this table up a lot. Lots of stuff on here. Carefully move off the scales so you guys have a better shot of what's going on here. I think the easiest thing, we're going to go ahead and start on the end of the Slowstar, because we got so much produce laid out today on the table. Alright, so let's go ahead and put our juice collection cups. Now all these juicers come with plastic juice collection cups to collect the juice. Today I'm using the exact same Anchor Hawking 4-cup measuring cup, glass pitcher. I like to only juice in glass myself. And so this way we can make sure we have an even comparison. You know, some juicers that I've seen in the past, you know, they come with collection cups that may have markings on them, but between the different manufacturers, the markings may not be entirely accurate. So that's why I'm using a standardized measuring cups to see the exact amount we're going to get out of each machine. Now the other thing I need to let you guys know is that we might have to cut some of the produce to put in the machine. I think on the Kuvings we probably won't have to cut anything, but on the other machines we will, so I'm going to have to pre-cut some of the produce as I feed it in. But one of the most important things for me to do for you guys is actually to show you guys how long it takes to juice in each one of these machines, because that will be a little bit different. So I guess without further ado, we're going to go ahead and use a good old stopwatch app on my iPhone. We're going to go ahead and hit the start button, turn the machine on, start cutting and feeding in the produce. So I guess without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, start! Alright, we're off. There's the stopwatch running. Turn that on. And now when we're going to feed the celery first, when feeding the celery, you could just let it dump in there and it's going to cut off each piece at a time. So I really like that a lot. Might have to help that a little bit. As you guys can see, the pulp is coming out one side and the juice is starting to dribble out. Next we're going to go ahead and put a carrot. This is why I like the vertical single auger machines, because it's like fully automatic. Of course the apple will not fit, so we're going to have to go ahead and cut that up. But as I'm cutting up the apple, we're going to go ahead and take another piece of celery and just let that dump right in there. Next we're going to go ahead and juice the apple. Now no matter what you're juicing in any juicer, I always encourage you guys to rotate the ingredients you're juicing. This will allow the machine to work the best, to deal with the different textures. For example, on a vertical single auger juicer, the carrots tend to juice the best. They tend to push a lot of the pulp and the fiber through. As you guys can see, we're not getting any pulp blockages here on the Slowstar, so that's working really good. Let's go ahead and take one of these purple carrots, and it won't fit in, so we're going to have to go ahead and slice it maybe like in half. I just cut that in half and I'm just letting it suck in, auto feed. It's just cutting it up, juicing it on up. We're getting that nice rich purple carrot juice coming right out. No problems whatsoever. Let's go ahead and put another apple in there. And one of the reasons why I chose these purple carrots is look at that diameter. I mean, that is a fatty. That's a fat carrot. Look at that diameter in there. That can be very hard to juice in any juicer. But yeah, I'm going to cut this in half. I think if I cut this in half, it should fit in the Slowstar. And we're going to see if I can get this machine to stop. I've never gotten this machine to stop on anything. It has the most torque out of any of these juicers here. Alright, we cut that almost in half, and here's a really thick piece here going right in. Let's see if we stop it up. Man, that Slowstar just powers right through it. So powerful. All right, let's go ahead and put some more purple carrot in there. Once again, this is why I like the Slowstar, right? I put all kinds of things into it. I've never been able to get it to stop up. Even the hardest of carrots here. I want to encourage you guys to drink some purple carrot juice and get purple pigmented produce. So, these are much more higher antioxidants than the standard yellows. I'd say at least 10 times more antioxidants due to the anthocyanin content. And I'm really hip with these purple carrots. I got these at a farmer's market, but you could often get a standard, maybe not quite as deep colored purple carrots near you at Sprouts, Farmer's Market, which is a grocery store, or Whole Foods, something like that. Oh, Trader Joe's also. They have like a rainbow pack of carrots you can buy. Alright, once again, trying to alternate feed. We're going to go ahead and throw some celery in there. Once again, the pulp is still running out, which is really good, because normally on celery, juicing in some vertical auger juicers, juicing this much celery would be a no-no. It'll clog up, but the pulp's still flowing, so that's definitely a really good thing. Now the tip on celery is when I cut this into Slowstar, look at that. I mean, it's making nice clean cuts, maybe leaving very little strings. And that's why it's able to work so well on the celery, because actually, as I mentioned before on that blade when we were taking a look at it, the auger had a nice sharp auger on there. Once again, throw that apple in there. I think we'll follow that by another piece of celery here. Once again, I'm not using the pusher on this machine to push the items in. I'm kind of letting the machine kind of like auto feed. Pulp still flowing out really nicely. Let's go ahead and put the last carrot in there. A little bit too big for the spout. We're going to have to go ahead and chop that in half there and drop in. I really like that the Slowstar just powers through all this stuff. Alright, let's go ahead and put maybe this last piece of the apple. And I am juicing the apple seeds. People say there's cyanide in the apple seeds, but I think if you juice, them here and there, it's not going to be an issue. Now, if you're juicing 1,000 apples with the seeds and eating them, like all at the same time and all this stuff, it's probably not good. But I don't have a problem with it. And actually, there's a B17 or Laetrile identified in the seeds, which may be health promoting. All right, last piece of produce going in the Slowstar. One piece of celery. Once again, look at that, just sucking it right in, no problem. Pulp still ejecting out, no problem whatsoever without even cutting the celery. This is impressive. Once again, I do encourage you guys to pre-cut your celery on any vertical slow juicer. It's always going to work better, but as we're learning today with the Slowstar, you don't have to pre-cut your celery and it's still going to work great. Of course, this recipe is also heavy in carrots, which is also helping to push some of that celery pulp all the way through. Alright, so I think we got pretty much all the produce through the juicer there. Most important thing on any vertical slow juicer is when you're done, don't just turn the machine off. Let the machine stop, or turn it off after the pulp stops flowing out, because there's still produce spinning inside the machine and getting juiced. So I think we're going to go ahead and wait for the pulp to stop flowing out the machine, and then we're going to come back at you and let you know how long it took. Alright, I think we're all done. Pretty much things have stopped going, so it looks like it took 6 minutes and 55 seconds. We're going to go ahead and stop and hit the reset on that. We're going to go ahead and turn off that Slowstar. And we're going to go ahead and juice next in the Omega VSJ 843. Let's go ahead and move this plate out of the way here. And let's go ahead and get this stopwatch going once again. Start. Alright, turn it on and get juicing. I'm going to go ahead and first put some celery in there, see how the VSJ handles celery. Once again, we got that fat diameter carrot. We're going to have to cut this baby in half, see what the VSJ can do. Alright, might need a little bit of guide this in a little bit. Looks like we're getting some celery juice right out. We're going to go ahead and dump in this half a carrot like we did on the Slowstar. Alright, looks like it worked. That's amazing. Normally the VSJ might stop up on carrots like it just did, because we're overfeeding them, so you gotta hit the reverse button. Yeah, and then this is gonna happen a lot where it just stops and you gotta reverse and stop and reverse. That's why I like the Slowstar, right? Powers right through it. So the better, let's go ahead and let's see, put some celery in there next. The pulp's still flowing out, hasn't gotten blocked up from putting uncut celery in there. Let's go ahead and get that apple cut up here while it's working. Drop that other piece of carrot in there. Once again, stopped up. Stopped up again. So this is why I don't necessarily, if you want to juice like a lot of carrots, you might not want to use the VSJ because you're going to sit here on the button a lot unless you use this technique that I'm going to show you guys. Let's go ahead and put an apple in there now. How about some more celery? So here's a better technique for juicing carrots. It's not quite as easy as the VSJ or as the Slowstar. You take the carrot, you dunk it in, let it cut off a chunk, take a piece off, pull it out, put it in, pull it out, put it in, pull it out, let it run a little bit before you put the next chunk in. Let it take another chunk, maybe 2 chunks, let it run a little bit, right? The problem is it gets too much in there and it can't grind it up. It just doesn't have that torque. Once you get it down to this point and it's nibbled off a bunch, you can just dump that last piece in there and it should just juice it up fine without stopping. So you got to kind of modify your technique a little bit, right? Let's go ahead, this carrot won't fit in there. I'm going to go ahead and cut a little slice up, drop it in there. Should handle the slice no problem. But once again, you know, with the big pieces, dump it up, or put it in, pull it out, put it in, pull it out, put it in, pull it out. All right, let's go ahead and do some more celery there. Now on the celery, right, I want to show you guys this. It's very interesting as we're feeding another carrot. As you guys saw on the Slowstar, it literally cut off a whole piece with the strings and all. Now the VSJ cut off some of it, but it left some of the strings on, so it's not getting nice clean cuts like the Slowstar. Oh, and we got stuck again. So the Slowstar, in this perspective, you know, juicing celery more efficiently, it's definitely better. Because this one doesn't cut quite as well. Looks like the pulp is still flowing out, so that's definitely a good thing. Let's go ahead and put some more of this celery in there. Followed by an apple. And we're going to go ahead, this carrot will have to get cut also. I want to let you guys know, you know, I want to really emphasize, like, try to find the purple carrots. If you can't find the purple carrots, right, then juice some purple cabbage quite often. They have special pigments called anthocyanins that they've done studies on these anthocyanins feeding rodents, actually junk food, and guess what happened to the rodents when they fed them junk food? They gained weight, got blood sugar issues like diabetes, and had problems with their arteries and whatnot. And then once the junk food caused this, they even fed them like poor rodents. They fed them like high fructose corn syrup water mixed with water to simulate drinking Coke. And we know, you know, the fast food, junk food American diet, right? That's not good for your health, right? This is the exact opposite. The vegetable juices. Anyways, they fed these rodents purple carrot juice. And the rodents, after they got fat on the junk food and had health issues, they fed them the purple carrot juice. And the ones that they fed purple carrot juice, although they kept feeding them the junk food, right, they had reductions in weight, reductions in their blood sugar issues, and reductions with their clogging and their arteries and whatnot, right? That's truly the power of these purple carrots. So you want to juice them whenever you can. If you can't find purple carrots, you know, juice other purple pigmented foods. Purple cauliflower, another really good one. I like the purple carrots myself. Blueberry is also another really good purple food with anthocyanins in there. The VSJ is definitely getting a little bit loud juicing these carrots. Let's go ahead and put that last apple in there. Maybe throw in some more of the celery. Looks like the pulp's still ejecting out, no problem, no pulp jams in the VSJ H43 is working very well. Go ahead and feed that last carrot in, try to put that in and pull it out so we don't get jammed up again. And once again, feed that last another piece of celery in there. And I think we'll go with this carrot after that. Always trying to rotate the produce items going in the machine. Carrot won't fit, gotta slice it up a little bit, dump that piece in there. And the last carrot going in. Once again, stick it in, pull it out, man. You can hear the VSJ really start working to try to juice this really deep, rich, purple, thick carrot. Alright, finally we're gonna go ahead and juice this last piece of celery, drop it right in there. And you could also use that technique on the celery, which I do recommend. You know, stick it in, pull it out. Stick it in, pull it out. It's going to work a lot better than just like auto feeding, so that it doesn't take too much celery at a time. This may also help you so it cuts off more strings than just letting it auto feed. Alright, last bit of celery. We'll just drop that baby in there. Pulp is still flowing. VSJ did not get jammed either. This is actually quite impressive. Alright, well, it's still juicing, juice is still coming out, the pulp's still moving. We're just going to go ahead and let this run a little bit more. We're going to come back at you when we're done. Alright, I think the VSJ is done. There's barely any juice dripping out. Let's go ahead and stop that. Wow, 8 minutes and 20 seconds on the VSJ. It took like, I don't know, almost a minute and a half more than the Slowstar just due to the carrots jamming. So, you know, like that's why I tell people, if you're going to juice a lot of carrots, the VSJ may not be the juicer for you because it's definitely going to slow you down a little bit. Alright, last but not least, we got the Kuvings whole slow juicer over on this side. Let's go ahead and move this baby over. Now we're ready to juice in the Kuvings whole slow juicer. And because of the whole slow juicer, I'm not going to need to cut anything or use my knife, so it's likely going to be faster. But let's see how it actually juices these items uncut. Alright, hit the start, turn this baby on. Drop in a piece of celery there first, see what happens. Alright, so it's actually taking it in, sucking it on in, cutting it on up. Let's go ahead and drop in a carrot now after that. Takes it in, let's see if we can stop up the Kuvings with that nice thick carrot that was able to stop the VSJ but was not able to stop the Slowstar. No problem whatsoever. Maybe we'll put another piece of celery in there. We'll keep rotating that celery and the carrots. Smaller carrot, one of the orange ones, much softer consistency. Now if you do juice a lot of carrots, want to get them in bulk, I do recommend going to the warehouse club stores, Costco, Sam's Club. Sell the carrots generally, usually organic actually, in bulk for really inexpensive. That's the best place to buy them. And when you're buying them to juice in a vertical slow juicer, I want you to pay attention, right? Try to get a bag of thinner diameter carrots. They're going to be easier to juice in the juicer. Alright, now I'm going to try to stop that Kuvings up. Look at this nice thick diameter on this carrot there, right? We're just going to drop that in. Oh, it got stuck with the safety blade in the Kuvings. So we're just going to push that through the safety blade. It's juicing it on up. Let's see if we're able to stop the motor in the Kuvings. Oh, we stopped the motor. Only one that was unable with the most power, Slowstar, didn't stop that juicer, man. We stopped it. Oh, stopped it again on the Kuvings here. And unlike on the VSJ, you can't like dip it in and tug it out, but what you could do is cut it into smaller pieces. But then you gotta cut in the big feed chute machine. And some people say, you don't gotta cut in the big feed chute machine. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and feed in a piece of celery. Looks like we're getting a lot of produce up near the top that's actually not getting fed in. Let's go ahead and try to put that apple in. Once again, goes right in the Kuvings with a large feed chute. Shove that past the safety blade there. It's chunking off pieces of the apple. We're getting the juice out. Really impressive. We did not clog the Kuvings with the celery strings either. So that's actually quite impressive. That being said, I do not recommend juicing like I am today. You know, you are more likely to clog it up, although it may not happen for you depending on the volume of juice you're making. Alright, follow that with some celery. At the same time, you know, in the top of this Kuvings, there's lots of pulp that's actually not going through the machine. So I'm trying to use some of this celery to, you know, push that and get that pulp that's hanging out at the top back into the machine so we can get a higher yield, because if it's sitting at the top of the machine, it's not getting juiced. Alright, next let's go ahead and put in, drop in a purple carrot right in there. Let's see if we can stop up the Kuvings again. We did. We stopped up the Kuvings again. So let that run a little bit. Running pretty good. Let's go ahead once again, put some more celery in there. Oh, stopped at the Kuvings again with that carrot that went in there. And let's go ahead and feed some celery in. Now, instead of like the cutting, like on the Slowstar that did the best job, the VSJ that kind of did all right, this one doesn't really do a lot of cutting. It kind of just like literally just like crushes, man. So we're getting like a lot of these celery strings coming out. I mean, we'll look at that at the end for you guys. All right, so let's see. Let's go ahead and put in last carrot into the Kuvings. Crunching that up and stopped up the Kuvings again. All right, turn this baby on again. All right, that's worked fairly well. Let's go ahead and use this last celery to try to get some of this pulp that's sitting in the top, on the top of the auger, that's not really feeding into the Kuvings. I generally like to, you know, juice something like carrots or celery at the end of juicing in the Kuvings. That'll help try to push some of that pulp through. And although this is a wide feed chute, you know, I think I was pretty much done juicing faster. You know, it still hasn't juiced everything. All right, took it out of my hand. We're going to let that suck out, and we're just going to go ahead and let this run just a few more minutes or seconds, I don't know, until the pulp stops flowing, and then we can see how much juice we made. So I think we're pretty much done juicing in the Kuvings. Let's go ahead and hit the stop here. And so it looks like it took 5 minutes and 56 seconds in the Kuvings, so that definitely took the least amount of time to juice, a minute slower than the Slowstar, maybe like, I don't know, 2.5 minutes faster than the VSJ. Let's go ahead and turn this baby off. And once again, we got all the delicious juices. Now I do want to let you guys know that, I don't know if you guys saw this on the video, but all these machines to some extent were splashing. And that's part of the reason is because I'm using these low profile collection cups. Normally the juicers come with taller collection cups, so there's going to be minimized splashing, so you're not going to have to clean up the counter as much. That being said, the Slowstar with its high spout splashed the most. I do actually like the high spout on this because it allows you to get a mason jar basically underneath there to juice into that. If you'd want, then you can just grab it and go when you're done. Let's go ahead and close off all these spout caps on the different machines, and we're going to go ahead and move this stuff out of the way. We're going to bring up these juices front and center, and we're going to see which juicer actually made more juice. Alright, we got all these pictures lined up on the table, and let me go ahead and give you guys a close-up shot and find out which juicer made more juice. Let's take a look and see what juicer made more yield. So over on the Slowstar juice, looks like it made about 875 milliliters. Over on the VSJ843 looks very similar, but it looks like we made about 850 milliliters. And then moving over to the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer Elite, looks like we made just a little bit above or below 850 milliliters, above 825. So I'm going to call that maybe like, I don't know, 835, 840 milliliters. The other thing I want you guys to notice is the colors of the juice, which is actually quite interesting. I don't exactly know why this is, but the Slowstar juice, I don't know if you guys could see that. Maybe we'll do a close-up on the top there. Just the foam and the overall color of the juice doesn't quite look as pitch black. I mean, it looks pretty dark, but if we kind of compare those two, I don't know if you guys could see that. I mean, the VSJ juice looks a bit darker to me, and the Kuvings also has a pretty similar color, so that's interesting that the Slowstar a little bit different color. I'm not sure why that is. So you guys just saw that the Slowstar actually beat the other two in terms of yield, and also it had a middle of the road time to juice. So it was faster to juice, made the most yield. Also, it didn't stop actually when juicing. Like the motor plowed right through that. So that's why in general, like somebody says, John, I want to juice a lot of carrots, I'll say go with the Slowstar. Powers right through, no hassles, no flipping the button, all this kind of stuff, right? Let's see, the other thing I want to do is we're going to go ahead and keep these in order to let you guys know, what juice is what. But I want to show you guys the pulp because this is a little bit telling here. We got the pulps from all three different machines. And if we take a look at the Kuvings did the least effective job with the celery strings, right? Let's see, here's a sample string out of the VSJ, like maybe a third of the size, and then actually on the Slowstar, let's see if we could get out a string, depending on what string, I don't know if this is a random sample, but some of these strings, look like they're pretty cut up well. Let's see, VSJ, I don't know, the strings are cut up pretty well on the Slowstar and the VSJ, and just not as well on the Kuvings. That's pretty much basic. Next, I want to go ahead and take the pulp here. And we're going to go ahead and take the pulp, and we're going to squeeze the pulp for you guys in my hand, see if I can squeeze out any more juice. A couple drops. Alright, let's go ahead and take the VSJ pulp. A few more drops. Looks like it's a little bit wetter than the Slowstar there. And let's go ahead and take the Kuvings pulp here. Pulp seems fairly dry actually, so I'd say interesting enough, even though the VSJ actually had the wettest pulp, the Kuvings and the Slowstar actually had the driest pulp, which is actually quite interesting. Yeah, this purple carrots, man, they'll stain your hands purple. Alright, so aside from the pulp, I want to show you guys inside the machines when we're done juicing real quick. So inside the Kuvings here, if we take this guy off, which is a little bit stuck due to maybe some of the celery fibers that are not coming out, I want to show you guys this underneath the auger there in the feed chute. There's like lots of the purple pulp that actually just did not get juiced. In addition, inside the auger here, wow, there's like lots of the purple pulp. You guys probably can't see because it blends in with the black. Still in there. Oh, and then we could show you this actually. Inside the juicing screen, there's still lots of pulp that actually just did not get ejected. And actually, if we look out the feed chute there, or the pulp ejection port, you can see strings of celery that may have started to start jamming the Kuvings up, although just in this volume it didn't actually jam. Next, let's go ahead and show you the VSJ 843. Underneath this side, I don't really see, I see a few smidgens of pulp, but pretty much nothing. And then if we take this auger out, let's see what we got on this auger here. On this auger, we got one piece of celery that didn't get juice, but there's still a lot more in the Kuvings there. And then finally, I want to show you guys this screen. Look at this screen. This is how efficient the VSJ is at juicing and actually not keeping stuff in the juicer, but actually getting it out and extracting it, right? This screen is pretty much clean, so this means it's going to be an easier job for you to clean the screen once you're done, because there's not a lot of stuff left inside the machine because the juicer ejects all this stuff. And that's the job of the juicer. Alright, in the Slowstar here, it looks like we also, wasn't as effective as the VSJ. Still, some pulp on the auger there. And on the screen, it definitely has, some areas of the screen are pulp free and some have some pulp. So it's definitely more than the VSJ, but less than the Kuvings. And let's go ahead and put that all back in there. Alright, so what did we just learn just there, right? Okay, Slowstar made the most juice. The VSJ actually had the wettest pulp. The VSJ will be the easiest to clean. Yeah, the Kuvings took the least time. What one of these values is more important? John, I want the most yield. Well, hey, then get the Slowstar. Hey, John, I want the easiest cleaning. Well, get the VSJ. Hey, John, I want the fastest time to juice. Well, hey, get the Kuvings, right? It depends on you. But the thing I do want to say now is, we saw the juice as it came out and the yield inside the pitcher as it comes out. Now, each juicer is going to put a bit more or less pulp in the juice. and that will artificially inflate the yield. There's some of the pulp is actually in the juice that makes the juice higher on a higher level. So the thing I want to do next is actually we're going to go ahead and using the same exact strainer, we're going to strain out all the juices, and also you guys can see the exact amount of pulp created in each machine. Alright, so we're pouring out the juice here from the Slowstar. We're sieving out all the pulp. Wow, lots of pulp here at the bottom, like it's just like almost like a smoothie texture. Alright, yeah, I mean, even after trying to shake it out, there's still some pulp in the bottom of the measuring cup there. Let's go ahead and shake all the pulp out. Alright, so we got all the pulp shaken out, and yeah, we still have a significant amount of pulp. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and weigh the pulp for you guys here on the scale. So the pulp in the screen, or the sieve, on the scale in grams, 188 grams. So we're going to go ahead and put this on the bowl to remind you guys what it looks like. We'll keep that there in front of that guy. And we're going to go ahead and pour this back in to the original collection cup. And we're going to compare the after strained juice after we strain out the rest. Alright. Next, let's go ahead and check out the VSJ juice. Let's see how much pulp we created. Once again, it was 188 grams in the Slowstar. Celery tends to not create a lot of pulp in the juice. Carrots tend to create, a fair bit of pulp in the juice, as do the apples. So the apples and the carrots in this recipe are contributing to the pulp in the juice. So if you don't want pulp in the juice, juice less of those things. Even the VSJ put a good bit of pulp in the juice that I'm seeing, once again, stuck in the bottom of this collection cup, measuring cup. And let's go ahead and shake this off. Alright, let's go ahead and weigh this out. Looks like we got 128 grams of pulp with the VSJ 843. We're going to go ahead and pour this back in. Move that over, and finally we're going to go ahead and strain out the Kuvings juice. I mean, this is the detail I get into my videos, right? So you guys know what you're getting, right? You guys will know how much, some juicers, like a 2-stage hydraulic press style juicer, they make no juice in the pulp. That's a pro of those machines. Or if you're juicing like in a high-speed centrifugal ejection machine, they make very little juice in the pulp. And that may be a pro or con for, some people may argue there's still nutrients left in the pulp, so you might want to drink that pulp too. Alright, even on the Kuvings, right, left some sediment in there. We're going to go ahead and try to tap that out. And we're going to go ahead and strain this down. Alright, let's go ahead and weigh this pulp. 141 grams on the Kuvings. That's how much pulp the Kuvings made. Alright. And let's go ahead and pour this back into the Kuvings collection cup. Alright, we got all these juices poured back in. Now I want to go ahead and give you guys another yield comparison with the strained juice here. Now we learned that the Slowstar made the most pulp, followed by the Kuvings, and then the VSJ made the least pulp in the juice. So if you want the least pulp in your juice, then you might want to go with the VSJ. Alright, let's go ahead and turn these to the side, and we'll give you guys a close-up on the yields. Let's go ahead and give you guys a close-up shot of the juice yields after straining. So here on the Slowstar, looks like we're pretty much Like looking at the milliliters, looks like we're at 570 milliliters over on the Slowstar there. Over on the VSJ43, once again, have the least amount of pulp. We're at 850 milliliters. And over on the Kuvings, looks like it has a reputable 800 milliliters of juice. So isn't that interesting? After straining, we have now a different yield outcome. All right, so now we just saw the yield outcome after straining. So that changed things a bit, right? The Slowstar was the winner previously, and then the VSJ was second, and the Kuvings was third. And now after straining, what do we got? We got the VSJ is number 1, the Kuvings is number 2, and the Slowstar, interestingly enough, is number 3. And let's go ahead and maybe, I'm thinking maybe all the pulp in the juice earlier is why it kind of looked a little bit different to me. Because, I mean, that had, you know, a bit more pulp in there. I want to go ahead and try the juices. I mean, I doubt these guys are going to taste any different. Wow, that's actually a good recipe. I mean, even with 1 apple, it's not that bad. I'd say it's actually quite good. I mean, I can't really taste any noticeable taste difference thus far. Yeah. It's all good, man. Drink purple. All right. You get your hand stained purple too. Don't worry, it washes out. Yeah, so I mean, what did you guys learn in the juice off comparison of the best vertical slow juicers for 2017, right? Hopefully you guys learned like I did. Each juicer has their pros and cons, right? And you gotta select for you what's the most important for you. Do you want the ease and convenience of just being able to dunk the carrots in there without having to stop and mess with the buttons and all this kind of stuff? Do you want the convenience of being able to juice really fast? Do you want the highest yield because you don't mind drinking the pulp? Do you want the, you know, the highest yield without, you know, the pulp and removing the pulp? It depends. So that depends on which of these machines do you want. Is it important to have the options to, you know, grind up, you know, things like cabbage to make your own sauerkraut, to process nuts into nut butters and make sorbets? I mean, all these machines will make the nut butters and the sorbets, but only this guy will grind up your cabbage so you guys can make sauerkraut and grind up other things and be the most flexible with that. I mean, do you want the lowest price? Slowstar is definitely the best. I mean, so many different factors, and I'm glad you guys watched to the end of this video because we learned a lot of stuff, right? And I'm glad I could share this with you guys because I have access to all these machines. I represent all these companies. And that's why I can't say, everybody's always asking me, John, what's the best juicer? Well, it's the best juicer based on your needs, based on what you're going to juice, and based on what's important to you, because what's important to you may be not what's important to me. Number 1 for me is easy cleaning, right? If the machine's not easy to clean, I'm simply not going to use it. Today I have to clean all 3 machines because I did a juice off comparison, so I'll suck it up. But normally I like the VSJ because it's easiest one to clean. Also, for me, I strain my juices through a sieve, and so this one has the least amount of, you know, pulp in the juices straight out. Also, it made the highest yield, and that's kind of what I've seen in the past. I mean, I don't tend to juice a lot of carrots like in this recipe today, and so I don't really mind it when it jams up a few times because I don't normally juice carrots, and I always chop my celery really small. I don't have any issues with that, right? And I don't care if it takes me a couple minutes longer to juice because I'm saving a little bit of time on the cleaning, right? And if you're really busy, maybe you want the Kuvings. I mean, there's so many different ways to go, but at the end of my juice off videos, I always have to declare a winner of the juice off video. And man, this is a really tough decision. I mean, each one of these juicers had their pros and cons. And I guess if I factor all these into my brain and just give you guys a real simple answer, right? I'm going to have to go with the Slowstar juicer. I mean, it made the highest yield pre-straining. It also is the least expensive juicer, right? Number 2. Number 3, it didn't stop when you're putting all the produce in. Like, it just kept barreling through there, right? That's the sign of a powerful juicer. I mean, yeah, maybe made a little more splashing and, you know, made more pulp in the juice, but, you know, hey, I encourage you guys to drink the pulp. So yeah, I mean, once again, there's no really, the best juicer for you, but in this juice off, I'm gonna have to say the Slowstar, just because the lower price point, 10-year warranty, made the most initial yield, didn't stop while juicing. I mean, come on man, a juicer shouldn't stop while juicing. I hope all the companies that I'm representing and showing their machines today improve, make their cleaning easier, make it so that the juicer doesn't stop, and come out with the 2018 year model. I'll be right there to show it, compare it with you guys, so you guys can have the latest and greatest. But for 2017 anyways, these are the latest and greatest state-of-the-art machines, and if you just gotta pick one, you probably wanna go with the Slowstar, because overall, that's going to get the best value and the best deal, ease of use and all that stuff. So if you guys enjoyed this episode, I would encourage you to support me and my work by making your purchase at discountjuicers.com. We do match any price. So if you find a lower price from an authorized retailer somewhere else, let me know. I'll be glad to match the out-the-door delivered price, including any sales taxes and all this kind of stuff, if applicable, with the other retailers. So you guys can support me and my work. I mean, if you also enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. It took, hours to film. It took hours to prepare, get all the produce weighed out, and it's going to take maybe another hour to clean all this mess up. So yeah, thumbs up if you liked it. It'll encourage me to do more juice off comparisons in the future. Also, be sure to click that subscribe button right down below so you don't miss out on any of my new and upcoming episodes. I'm coming out about every 5 to 7 days on this YouTube channel. You never know what new appliance or what new juice off you'll be learning about. We feature juicers, blenders, and dehydrators on this channel primarily. And also be sure to check my past episodes. My past episodes are a wealth of knowledge. I have other juice off comparisons between the Kuvings, the Omega, the Slowstar, the Kuvings, all different kinds of comparisons, juicing all different kinds of things, because every time you juice a certain produce item, the results may vary. In some instances, this may get more yield, in some instances this, and in some instances that. And so it's never cut and dry or black and white. But I surely hope that this video has helped you whittle down and get the right juicer for you. So with that, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for YouTube visitors.